Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trasher Football. Today we're going to be discussing my wish list for the upcoming College Football 25 video game coming out this summer. Now in the background I will be playing some old footage that I recorded late last year that I was going to make a video out of, but I decided not to, so why not go ahead and use it now. But first, I want to go ahead and say these are a mix of some stuff that have either been semi-confirmed, rumored, fully confirmed, and stuff that is not really expected, but there is a possibility of it being in the game, and what I want to see, whether it's possible or not. But first up, Team Builder. One of the biggest and best things about the old NCAA games was Team Builder. Whether it be inside the game that you can do Team Builder, or you pull up the website like you used to do back in the day, and you used to be able to upload your team to the Team Builder servers, and you could download other people's teams. That is a needed thing. It's needed for the game. I'm 95% sure it'll probably be in the game, but I just wanted to start off with Team Builder because that's one of the most important things to the old NCAA games, and I think it will 100% help College Football 25 when it comes out. Up next is the Stadium Editor. Now, let's say you take over a small Group 5 conference school, and they only sit 20,000 people in a stadium, and you build them up to be the levels of your Georgias, your Alabamas, your, mid-2010s Clemson. All those teams, you build them up to be the greatest dynasty of your generation. Nobody is going to build their school up like that and want only 20,000 people coming to your games. And with the idea of this, you should be able to add decks and seats to your stadium. Now, I don't know how they would be able to do this. I don't think they're going to do this, but I think it's possible. I just think it'd be a lot of work for them to do. I think this is probably possible for College Football 26 next year, but I highly doubt it for this season. But that is one of the biggest things about the old NCAA games that I wish were real, because I'd take over a small school like Florida Atlantic or Southern Alabama, and I want to be able to add seats so more and more people can show up to the games. Up next is school and player punishments. Now, in the old NCAA games on the PlayStation 2, if your players broke the rules of your team, they would get punished by being suspended, and I think you could be able to kick them off the team. Now, in this one, I want them to bring it back, but I want there to be ramifications with NIL too. If you might want to do an NIL deal with a player, and you say that you can give them more than you really can, or you want to give them under the table money to further get them to come over. But with that comes ramifications if the NCAA finds out. Now, I highly doubt that they'll put that in the games, because that's a big no-no in real life, but I feel like that just would include the immersion of the game, you know? In my opinion, that's something that they should, but they won't put in there. Now, up next is the Playoff Editor. In NCAA 14 Revamped, you could use the Playoff Editor, and you can do 4 teams, 8 teams, or 12 teams. And in College Football 25, I think that there should be a place where you can go back to the original BCS top 2 in the national championship, the top 4, just like it was in seasons prior, top 8 teams, so you can do 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, and so on and so forth. Your top 12 teams, which is going to be what it is in the seasons going forward, and even 16 teams, I feel like should be needed for people who like a lot of people in playoffs. Kind of like March Madness. A lot of people like March Madness in college basketball because it's a lot of schools playing for one championship. And I think 16 might be a little bit too much in my eyes, but in other people's eyes, they might like that. And I feel like you should be able to choose 2, 4, 8, 12, or even 16. Up next is your multiple broadcast teams. So your ESPN, your Fox, your CBS, your NBC, so on and so forth. Now, I do know for a fact ESPN will be a part of the game. Now, a lot of people recently have pointed out to me that the EA Sports College Football 25 accounts on multiple different social medias have followed the Fox's college football accounts, which has led a lot of people to speculate that they will be a part of the game. So like your Joel Klatt and your Gus Johnson could be a part of a different commentary team aside from Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. Now, I would obviously love to see CBS and NBC in the game. You could get, unfortunately, Gary Danielson. Yes, I know. But still, that would be cool to have Brad Nessler back in the game. Now, up next is custom conferences. I think that this one is not one that I've heard many people talk about. In Dynasty mode, I feel like you should be able to make your own custom conferences, and in another place in the game, you can upload your own pictures. So let's say you wanted to make a conference that's strictly like a new Western area of the United States. Combine the last few teams of the Pac-12 and the Mountain West together into one conference, but you wanted to give it a new name, and you don't want to just keep it under Pac-12 or Mountain West. I feel like you should be able to delete conferences, add new conferences, edit conferences, whatever, so on and so forth. Give it your own name, your own logo, your own headquarters, all this stuff. I feel like it would be way more immersive and closer to real life. Another one, this is a really short one, so I'm going to go over this just in a quick amount of time. Create new rivalries in Dynasty mode. You should, if you created a team in Team Builder, yes, you can choose what rivals your team that you created is going to rival with. But what if you wanted to choose an already existing team and create a rivalry with another existing team, but they're not already rivals? I feel like you should be able to make rivalries with teams. And this one kind of goes off of what I mentioned earlier. Enabling and disabling divisions and conferences. So in the ACC, for example, they stopped doing divisions, and the SEC is fixing to stop doing divisions. And I feel like that's going to slowly become the thing where divisions go away. Instead of being the winner of your East and the winner of the West face each other in the championship, now it's just the two top teams in your conference face each other. And I feel like you should be able to disable or enable divisions. Now, up next, this is a very big one that I know a lot of people talk about. FCS and HBCU schools in a future update or DLC. Now, there have been a couple of teams who have posted on social media custom covers of them on the game. I do believe Eastern Tennessee State posted something about them being in the game, and I think they recently deleted it. Now, don't call me out on that because I can't find the tweet because it was obviously deleted. But I think that this has just been the big rumor. Now, I'm not sure if they will do it or if they won't do it, but we will find out sooner or later. Now, here's a big one. Downloading high school classes. Now, in the Madden games, you can download custom draft classes of the incoming college talent. Now, I think you should be able to download custom high school classes made by the community. So if I wanted to download the class of 2025 and get all of these custom players to come into my school who are real life high school players, or, people could make their own former high school classes, like the class of 2005 or 2006. Those type of classes that produced a lot of talent. Another one is downloading rosters. Now in the NCAA 14 game, everybody that had an internet connection in NCAA 14 and especially revamped downloaded the new roster every season on both the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and even emulators on the PC would download the current year's roster. Now, this is very important for people who want to play former rosters. Like, let's say somebody reverts all the rosters to 2015. Go back in time and play that season. or they can make their own custom rosters. What if you like the auto-generated players? You could go back and do that. And this kind of leads in from downloading with rosters in general, all-time teams and year teams. So example, if I wanted to play as the all-time Florida Gators team, led by Tim Tebow, Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, Percy Harvin, Emmitt Smith, all on offense, would be a killer team. Now, I know that a lot of these players will be in College Football Ultimate Team. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Ultimate Team, and I never liked Ultimate Team in Madden, but I feel like College Ultimate Team is going to be a little different than Madden's Ultimate Team, and I honestly can't wait to try that. And going to year teams, putting in different years of different teams when they were really good or won a natty. So like the 2006 Florida Gators, the 2019 LSU Tigers, the 2013 Florida State Seminoles. I feel like you should be able to simulate these two teams playing against each other with their rosters. And obviously they're not going to be able to get every single player on these rosters, but try and get every single player that they can at least get that's currently in the NFL, and anybody that they had the rights to in former Madden games. Now this one is another one that a lot of people talk about: Transfer Portal in Dynasty and Road to Glory. Now, in College Football Revamped, I've seen a lot of YouTubers do series on playing Road to Glory, and they would transfer schools, and I'd wonder how they did that. Well, they had the EA database editor, which if you know nothing about computers, you're going to know nothing about the database editor. So in the game, in Dynasty and Road to Glory, I feel like you should be able to use the transfer portal to change teams. Now, you could have players from your team that you coach on Dynasty change, or if you're playing Road to Glory, let's say you went to Nebraska, you started a season, and you got benched for the younger backup, and you wanted to play out your junior and possibly senior season for a better chance in the NFL draft, and you transferred to play at Tulane. I feel like you should be able to do that, and I think that's basically a given. All we're waiting for is confirmation. If they don't put it in there, that's a very big misstep for EA. Now, up next, I have underclassmen leaving more often for the NFL. So your juniors and sometimes your redshirt sophomores can leave for the NFL early as long as they have 3 years experience in college. I feel like it should be more often, but you should also still have the option to persuade them into staying with your school. Now, that was a thing in NCAA 14, and you could have incoming transfers that you could either accept or deny, but you would really get 1, maybe 2 incoming and leaving players every season, because transferring wasn't that big back then. Yeah, it still happened, but you would have to sit out a year if you transferred, and nobody wants to sit out a year and not play football. You had to stick with what you got or leave for the NFL early if you wanted a chance at playing big boy football. And nowadays, with NIL and the transfer portal, people are changing left and right, and that needs to be a part of the game to include the immersion. Now I'm going to include the next 2 of these in the last part. So third to last, having former players return as coaches later in your dynasties. Now, let's say you have a quarterback, wins 2 Heisman trophies, 3 national championships, goes on to the NFL, and 8 to 15 years later comes back as your offensive coordinator. That would be one of the most sickest things that you could do in the game. And sick, when I mean sick, I mean awesome. That would be one of the coolest small little details that it would not be hard for them to do, that I think a lot of the hardcore community of this video game series would very much enjoy. Now, last but not least, adding spring games to your preseason, where you can play your A game, you can set your rosters and play your A game in your stadium. Like, for example, I'm a Florida Gators fan, if you didn't know. Orange versus blue. Florida does it every season. And for your postseason, coaching in the Reese's Senior Bowl. and you get to be able to customize the roster and coach. And both of these should be optional. Now, in the Madden games, you have the preseason. I don't know a lot of people that play the preseason, but I do know a lot of people that would play spring games in the college game. And in Madden, you have the Pro Bowl. I know a lot of people that don't play the Pro Bowl, but I do know a lot of people that would play the Reese's Senior Bowl. You could be able to see your best players and teams that you played against best players, or teams that you never played against, but you wanted to see those best players that were like in the leading for Heisman play. And for the Reese's Senior Bowl, in real life, I do believe they are accepting juniors who are declaring for the draft to play, which really takes away from the quote-unquote Senior Bowl aspect of it, but I'm okay with it. I feel like that they should include that in the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my college football 25 wish list. Of course, there are many other things that I want, but didn't put into this list for sake of time. This is already a long video running on a possible 15 to 18 minutes. Make sure you subscribe, and please stay tuned for next week when I interview Extra Point's own Matt Brown. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Matt Brown who has been telling everybody all about the news about the upcoming college football video game. I will be talking to him about the college football video game, about NIL, about college athletics behind the scenes, and his video game, Athletic Director Simulator 4000. So please stay tuned for next Monday afternoon when that video goes up. So please like, subscribe, share the video. Let me know what your college football 25 wish list is, and I will see you guys later. I hope you all have a great day.